Hello, I'm Dr. Hassan Tawheed and I'm here once again with a very important and serious topic today. Warning signs while writing a research article. Warning signs while writing a research article. If you are writing a research article, then there are 4 warning signs that I will discuss today that you should be careful about. You should not do these things while writing a research article. So what are those 4 warning signs? Number 1, plagiarism. Yes, plagiarism. Avoid plagiarism. Plagiarism means copy pasting somebody else's words or taking somebody else's work and not giving a reference or not giving the credit that they deserve. So now many people would ask that what does that mean? How can I avoid plagiarism when I'm writing a review article or I have clinical trial study that I have to write, an empirical study, and there is some literature review that I need to mention in my discussion section? So definitely I will have to go to other people's papers and get information from other people's papers, right? So I definitely will have to go to other people's papers. I cannot extract information on my own. So there is no other way but to get information from other people's papers. So how can I avoid plagiarism? The answer is very simple. Yes, you do have to take information from other people's papers, and especially in a review article, 90-80% of your paper is actually other people's information. In a clinical trial or empirical study, 50% of your paper will be other people's information. Some parts in the introduction section, some parts in the discussion section. So how do you go about it? You take information from other people's papers, rephrase it in your own words, and always give a reference. If you forget any of these 2 things, it will be plagiarism. It means rephrase in your own words, rewrite in your own words, and always give a reference. Some people think that, I can copy paste it and I give a reference, I will be fine. No, it's plagiarism. Some people say, okay, I rewrite in my own words, but I don't give a reference. It's again plagiarism. There's only one way to avoid it, in my opinion, and that is always rewrite in your own words and always give a reference. If you remember this formula, you will never go wrong. Now, many people say, what about the quotations? If I want to mention exactly the line that was mentioned by some scientist in my paper, how do I do that? It's very simple. Use something like that. Dr. Michael XYZ and his team, in the article published in the journal XYZ in the year 2010, mentioned in their article, inverted commas begin, now copy paste their whole line, inverted commas close, and then give a reference. Now you will not go wrong. But don't do too many quotations in one paper. Maximum 3, I would suggest. Don't do more than that, because otherwise it will automatically be detected on plagiarism software. When you send your paper to a journal and journal checks your paper for plagiarism, it will be very bad for you. You will be in unnecessary trouble of justifying that, no, I did not plagiarize. So don't use more than 3 quotations maximum. And I am a kind of person who says that no quotations at all, ideally, to avoid these kind of confusions. And now you know how to avoid plagiarism. So that was the warning sign number 1. Now, what is the warning sign number 2? Warning sign number 2 is scientific fraud. Yes, don't do scientific fraud. What do we mean by scientific fraud? It means don't lie, don't deceive, don't cheat. Simple. Don't lie in your paper. Don't deceive anyone in your paper. Let's say you are writing a paper. The studies are about effects of smoking on skin. And let's say there are no studies suggesting that there are XYZ damages caused by smoking, but you really want to prove this point and you lie in your paper that XYZ paper suggested that there is an association between this. And there was no paper available of this study that you have mentioned. There was no paper available at all. You lied. Or there was a paper available, but they did not say what you are claiming they said. All of these could be scientific fraud. Writing wrong information, false information, deliberately writing false information in your paper to misguide people. Remember, your research article is extremely important document. Many people's lives depend on it. Don't ever misguide, lie, or exaggerate in your paper. It could be scientific fraud, and you could be in serious legal trouble as well. So that's the second warning sign. Avoid scientific fraud. Now, the third warning sign is figures, tables, diagrams. Can you use other people's tables, figures, diagrams, illustrations? The answer is only after permission. Send the email to the original author and journal as well, and seek permission if you can use the diagram that has been published. Mostly permission by author is sufficient, but I would suggest that just to be on the safe side, because you never know if the journal owns the document. So the best approach is you email the journal editor and you email the original author, the first author, the corresponding author, and ask respectfully if we can use your table or figure in our paper. This is our paper. When you get written permission, only then use it. Verbal permission does not matter. The verbal permission is nothing. Don't ever rely on verbal permission. Most people, they are nice and they will give you permission to use their table and figure and diagram and flowchart, whatever you want to use. Ideally, if they reply really fast, that's wonderful. If they don't reply, then why don't you make your own table and figure and diagram? Make a new one, modify it, change it. Now, another thing, if you modify or change their diagram because you were not getting permission or you could not contact the author, still give a reference modified from XYZ paper. But this diagram now should be absolutely modified. Shouldn't look like the same diagram. So this is how you ethically use somebody's work. That either you draw your own diagram, brand new, no relation with their diagram. That's the safest approach. That's why I suggest make your own diagrams. But if there is no other way, you have to use their diagram, then either seek written permission from them. If you get that, that's wonderful, from the author and the journal, that's wonderful. Otherwise, modify their diagram, change it, modify to the best of your ability, and still give a reference that this diagram was modified or adopted from XYZ paper by XYZ scientist. That's the safest approach. But as I said, I would always recommend making your own diagrams so that you don't have to ask or you don't get into any kind of trouble. Now, the fourth warning sign and the last warning sign that you should be careful about is don't send your paper to a stranger that you don't know or you don't trust. There are so many companies or people who claim to be companies, they will ask for your paper so that they can make money from you in the name of editing. Don't send your paper to a stranger. Unless it's a recognized company with great reviews and you trust them, only then send your paper for editing and proofreading. Now, if it's an editor that you have hired through freelance or some other website, usually they are trustworthy, but still look at their reviews. Always rely on their reviews. Don't send your paper to a freelancer whom you don't trust. You feel that he doesn't have good reviews. Don't. So that's how you can avoid your article from being stolen. Yes, people do steal your findings. People do steal your research papers and they will publish your paper in their name. There are so many cases where people have done it. So don't show your paper to a stranger or anyone you don't trust. So that's it for today. These are the 4 warning signs that we have discussed in today's video. And what are those? I'll just give a brief summary. Avoid plagiarism. Don't copy paste. Always give a reference. Secondly, the second warning sign, avoid scientific fraud. Don't lie or deceive. Don't cheat. Don't lie. Don't deceive in your paper. The third warning sign is always seek written permission to use somebody's tables, figures, and diagrams. And ideally, make your own diagram. Fourth warning sign, don't send your paper to anyone you don't trust. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked the video. If you have any question, please comment below. I'll try my level best to come back and comment and reply to your question. And thank you. Keep learning, keep watching. See you in the next video.